The bodies are piling up, and NGOs are to blame.
For those of you who have been living under a rock, apparently a hijacked building in Joburg caught on fire. We don't yet know why, but what we do know is how many people have died, and it's substantial.
73 deaths in the past 24 hours due to a fire. So, how are NGOs to blame? Well, Kenny Kunene, the MMC for transport in the city of Joburg, explains it succinctly.
But the biggest challenge for us as the city when we try to respond to this is the law. The law of South Africa protects criminality. The property laws of South Africa protect criminals who hijack buildings. Today in Terfontein, in Rosettenville, you go on holiday for a week. When you come back, people are staying in your house. When you try to take them out, they call the police. They say, this person has rented the house to us. Now they want to evict us. The police say you have to go to court to evict them. So the problem, the biggest problem, to evict these criminals, because once you say a building has been hijacked, a crime has been committed. Once you say there's an illegal foreigner, a crime has been committed. So the problem is the law, because the law says before you can take them out, you have to find an alternative place for them, even if they are illegal in the country.
And you know what, Byron? The law that he is referring to, all of those laws were precedents set by the Constitutional Court through court cases brought in by foreign-funded NGOs. Foreign-funded NGOs have created the phenomenon of hijacked buildings around this entire country.
Yeah, but there's a couple of things that Kenny says in this clip, mate, that I just don't agree with. But I do think they are things that actually should be addressed. So he says if somebody goes into your property, that they become illegal. But one of the things that we're seeing with the ANC government is that that actually isn't the case. The reason we have hijacked buildings in the first place is because our eviction rules and our trespass rules are incredibly weak. And very few people are actually taking property rights seriously. And as a result, it's very difficult to eject anyone. We saw during COVID that if you were in a property and you weren't paying your rent, the landlord couldn't chuck you out. That actually became part of the emergency rules. Currently, the rules even around rental agencies, when a person's in that property and stops paying, you're not allowed to cut off their services. You have to keep allowing them to stay there almost indefinitely. This is how the phenomenon of hijacked buildings have started as a whole. So yes, I agree.
I agree completely with you, Byron, on all of that. But who created the case law for all of those things? Foreign-funded NGOs. The Wits Law Clinic, the Commission for Human Rights, the whatever Center for Socio-Economic Rights. All these people do is take money from the West, come to South Africa, weaken and liquidate property rights in South Africa. And now we're left with a scenario where there are buildings controlled by gangsters, filled with illegal immigrants. And guess what? There's not going to be safety standards. There's not going to be any form of order that prevents these tragedies from happening in the first place. And it's all brought about by case law, brought about by NGOs.
There are a variety of vulnerable illegal occupants. I mean, how you can be vulnerable and illegal in the same sentence is beyond me. But these individuals have taken over whole buildings. They've hijacked the buildings. In many instances, they become almost pseudo-landlords. So they rent those buildings out, place by place, very small fee. They don't own the place in the first place. The city's powerless to cut off services, as we've just discussed. And as a result, these individuals almost start living in slum landlord type scenarios. Whenever an MMC or some politician comes out, like Mashaba when he was mayor, we're seeing now with Kenny Kunene is he's there. Everybody wants to chuck these guys out. They're like, this is a disaster for the city. We cannot allow this. And the minute they say it, two things happen. One, the liberal media attacks them and goes, how dare you? It's against human rights. The second is that the foreign-funded NGO that we're just discussing jumps straight into action and goes, we're going to interdict you, we're going to run a court case, we're going to pay for it, and it's going to stop you from doing any action.
Indeed, you are absolutely correct on all those points, Byron. Namibia has taken a strong stance against foreign NGOs only this year. They said basically, if you're a foreign NGO, we are worried about financial crimes emanating from NGOs. So whenever you have a new NGO, you must report and register it with the financial authorities or the intelligence services of Namibia. Because guess what, Byron? NGOs are not there to help save the poor people. They are agents of regime change, funded by the American intelligence agencies, funded by so-called philanthropists like George Soros, All they want to do is to weaken South Africa and leave us to be exploited by financial speculators like the people who fund these particular NGOs. And the cost of that is 15 million immigrants in South Africa. The cost of that is 73 women and children and men dead from a house fire in a hijacked building. This is the costs of having rampant foreign-funded NGOs doing whatever the hell they want in this country. And this video is not about NGOs. This video is about the ANC. Are you in charge of the country or not? Why are you allowing foreign agents to dictate what is happening, and you're allowing people to die, and you just say, oh, well, it's the NGOs. We can't do anything. You're the government. You've got all the power in the world. Do something.
Yeah, but as we discussed, Ramon, it's a convenient smokescreen. I mean, you can at least turn around and say, well, okay, well, our inability to combat, I don't know, the problem down in Joburg isn't really due to us underfunding the police force and obviously weakening property rights. It's actually due to NGOs, It's like those pesky NGOs. If only we got rid of them, everything would be fine. It's not entirely true, though, is it? I mean, the ANC is entirely, as you rightly say, completely culpable for this. The ANC should take a strong stance, and we have seen that occur in certain parts of the world, such as Hungary, where Viktor Orban actually banned Soros from the bloody country in bad fucking time. The problem is that you have to ask yourself a fundamental question, and there will no doubt be that Karen in our comment section that turns around and goes, yeah, but, human rights, and we must, NGOs and stuff. But you have to ask yourself, who allows 50 million rand just of their own money to be wasted for just fun? Because I'm a nice guy. I don't know anybody that's that nice. I mean, let's be honest. When Bill Gates goes out and he invests $50 million into the potential policy around vaccines and stuff like that, do you think that it's all because he's really caring about social policy and vaccines, or is it because he has a financial interest in vaccines? He actually manufactures them, and as a direct result of sponsoring the policy change, possibly he might make another 500 million from vaccine manufacturing. And for those of you who don't know, that actually happened.
Yeah, and it also happened that someone like Bill Gates has given the media in America close to $300 million, right? All the media that you know and that you read from America has been funded by Bill Gates. Do you think they're going to run pieces on him about his unscrupulous behavior in terms of vaccinating half of Africa and causing all sorts of turmoil for those people, using Africa as a laboratory for his vaccine-obsessed mind? No, they're not going to write anything about him because he owns them and he controls them. Money is a leverage. Money is a form of power. NGOs as well. NGOs are very good at basically deracinating and disassembling the South African order so that there is chaos everywhere. And who's the savior? Oh, it might happen just to be the very person funding the Ages of Chaos in the first place. ANC, you're in government, you are in power, you have all the levers of the state to deal with this problem. The fact that you haven't is treasonous in and of itself. Catch a wake up, because this is the result.